All right, here we go. This one's going to be a 40 Smith & Wesson versus 357 SIG test. And today we have some more Underwood ammo to try out. So for the 40, that one is the 135 grain Nosler. That's what that one looks like. It does have your nickel-plated brass, and that one's rated at 1,400 feet per second. And for the 357 SIG, that one's the 124 grain Nosler. Also nickel-plated brass, and that one's right at 1,475 feet per second. So we'll see how close we come today. So for the 40, we'll be using our Beretta 96 FS. That one does have a 4.9-inch barrel. And for 357 SIG, we'll be using our Glock 31. That one does have a 4.5-inch barrel. So both full size here today. So we'll be going through our gel. There's a 10% block. Do have our catch block behind that, so total 22 inches of gel. Our 4 layers of cotton t-shirt on the front, and like always, we'll set up our chronograph so we can hopefully pick up those impact velocities. So let's set up. See how these things do head to head. First one up will be that 40 Smith & Wesson. All right, we're setting back to 15 feet. All right, we're setting back to 15 feet. All right, let's see how we did on that one. All right, so our impact velocity on that was 1501. Wow, man, that thing was moving. I'm not sure what barrel length that was rated out of for that 14, but man, that's crazy to come over 100 feet per second, you know, above that. So awesome to see there. And that stuff was definitely pretty loud, and it had some pretty decent recoil on it. All right, let's see how we did. So it looks like we got a perfect entry hole on that one. You can already see down in that cavity, and we have a huge star pattern going on so far. It looks like there is a little bit of a blowout there on the top. So quite a bit of energy dump. Oh yeah, check that out. That is a huge track going through. Looks like it dumped a ton of energy there right at the beginning. Carried most of the way through, and it doesn't look like we made it into that second block. It looks like definitely hit it, but not enough to get in there. So let's see what our measurement is from our widest spot. So we are just at about 3 inches from the top, so not too bad. Like always, I will cut these open so we get our cross sections and all that good stuff, so we can get a little bit more accurate measurement. But man, that is some pretty impressive stuff. And check out that. So it looks like as soon as that thing came in, pretty much immediately started opening up. Looks like it pretty much exploded in there, and dumped quite a bit of that energy that first half of the block. It does look like there's a little bit of shrapnel, a little bit of fragmentation going on, and then it did flatline pretty quick, and then you can actually see that round sticking out of the back of that block. So let's see our measurement on this one. So at our widest spot up here, we are just about 2 3/4. So not as much from the side as the top, but still pretty good. And then you can see that round. So it looks like we barely made it 11 inches of total penetration on that, but you can see that round. But there we go. So let's set up for that 357 SIG and see how that one does. All right, we're stepping back to 15 feet. All right, let's see how we did on that one. All right, so our impact velocity on that one was 1,524 feet per second, so not too bad at all. Lately, when I have been testing that, we're getting around 1,550, so that's actually really good to see. So that 40 actually came pretty close. All right, let's see how we did. So it looks like we got another good hit on this block, and actually walking up, there was already a copper jacket sitting here on the table. So pretty crazy, but you can see right down in that cavity like the last one, we have a huge star pattern going on. And let's check it out from the top. Oh yeah, check that thing out. So there is already fragmentation right here at the very beginning. Almost looks like it went backwards, but all over the place. And that is a huge stretch cavity. So pretty much like the last one, that first half of the block, it pretty much exploded in there. And then it did start to flatline a little bit towards the end. And this one, we actually did make it into that second block, but just barely. But man, that is crazy. So we'll see if we can get a decently accurate measurement on this one. It's going to be pretty tough because they did kind of blend together. Let's see, we are just about 3 1/4 inches. So it looks like we got just a little bit more on that SIG, which is pretty surprising because they were moving just about the same. But man, that is one nasty looking channel so far. And from the side, let's see, same thing. Looks like as soon as that thing came in, it pretty much exploded also. And there's just fragmentation all over the place. And that's usually what that round does when I test it. But that first half of the block dumped a ton of energy, some huge splits going on. And it did start to flatline a little bit towards the end. And then you can see that round sit in that second block. So let's see if we can get a measurement from the side. So this one actually went from the very bottom of the table to the very top of the block. So we are right at 3 3/4 inches of stretch on that. So very impressive. And let's see if we can get a measurement on that round. Hopefully you guys can see it in there. And it barely made it in. About 3/4 of an inch. So we got 11 3/4 inches of total penetration on that. So literally 3/4 of an inch more than that 40. So not too bad at all. So let's check it out one more time from the top. Check those stretches out, man. That is crazy. Those things were both moving. So it's really good to see that that 40 actually came in above advertised. Same with that 357 SIG. So here is that 40. Came in, opened up immediately, dumped a ton of that energy. Carried it most of the way, and then start to settle down a little bit. And that round did stop in that first block. And for that 357, same thing. That one came in, pretty much exploded, leaving all kinds of fragments in there. And same thing, it did start to flatline pretty fast. Did dump a lot of the energy towards the beginning, and we actually made it to that second block on that one. So let's pull these rounds and see what they look like. All right, check these things out. It looks like both of them got some major expansion. So the one on the right is that 40, one on the left is that 357 SIG. So here is that 40. Man, check that thing out. Got some major mushrooming on that. And just peeled right back. There's barely anything left. Not too much weight retention on that one. It did shed quite a bit of petals and lead and everything else. So, but man, that was a nasty round right there. Super impressive for that. And those numbers were really good to see also. And that's 357 SIG, same thing. Mushroom right back. And pretty much shed everything on that one too. Peeled all those petals off. But man, that is a really nasty round. There's quite a bit of gel still on this one. So like always, we'll rinse these out so we can get our screenshots and all that good stuff here at the end. But man, that was one nasty round. And you can actually see that the 40 carried a little bit with it right towards the end. And then that one did, that petal was sitting right here at the beginning of the table. So like I said, we will pull everything out here at the end so we can get all our pictures and everything. But there they are one time from the bottom. Both of them got some awesome expansion. And one more time from the top. There we go. That one was 40 Smith & Wesson versus 357 SIG. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, here's that cross section for that 40. It was actually kind of hard to cut into it because both of these tracks did kind of blend together, so I did the best I could. But as you can see, there's already fragments going on, but some really, really deep, wide splits. Same thing on this other side. Really, really big splits going on. I did measure both of these sides, and we're right at about 3 3/4 inches at their widest spot. So quite a bit of damage there. So let's cut it open. All right, so here's after being cut. So this bottom is the right side, this top is the left. You can see as soon as this one came in, probably that 1/8 inch mark, started opening up right away. And man, that thing was really dumping some energy. As soon as that thing came in, you can see a little bit of that cotton t-shirt going on. Same thing on this other half. Really big splits going on. I did pull quite a few fragments out already that was already in there, but quite a bit of damage. Same thing on this top side. Opened up. As soon as that thing came in, you can see that huge track going all the way through. There's a little bit more of that cotton t-shirt that's going on. But man, just some super impressive cuts right there. And we had a ton of energy on that one, almost 700 foot-pounds. So that is crazy for that 40. Something was really moving out. But there we go. That one was that 135 grain 40 Smith & Wesson. I'll do one more quick angle just so you guys can get an idea what's really going on. You can see those splits. Just massive cutting. Really big cuts. There we go. All right, and here's that cross section for that 357 SIG. This one's a whole different story. They were both moving pretty close to the same speed. This one was a little bit lighter, but man, these tracks are always super impressive for that 124 grain. I've said it before, but man, they always look like pretty much like a rifle track, just the way that it does so much damage in the splits that we get, and just the crazy amount of fragmentation that's going on in there. But check that out. That is just a ton of damage. It kind of takes a whole chunk out of it right there, but there is some massive splitting going on. Same thing on this side. You can see fragments all over the place. But I did remeasure these, and we're sitting right at 4 inches at some of the widest spots. But man, there's just a crazy amount of damage in this. Those 124 grains are always really nasty in this gel. So let's cut it open. All right, and here's after being cut. So this bottom is the right, this top is the left. But you can see pretty much that 1/4 inch mark. So a little bit more delayed than that 40. But came in and that round just exploded in there. You can see that huge stretch and cavity going all the way through, and quite a bit of fragmentation and kind of just little petals shooting off all over the place. But check the damage out on this one. This one, even though it was a little bit less energy, seems like it actually did more damage in here, because those are some nasty looking tracks going through, and a ton of that fragmentation going on. Same on this top side right there. It came in 1/4 inch mark, parachute open, and just exploded in a huge cavity. Man, check that out. I swear every time it never gets old. These are just super nasty rounds for sure. Definitely do a lot more damage than their gold dots and everything else that they carry. So definitely a big fan of this round. But man, I know a lot of people don't really care for it because it does fragment, but that is definitely a nightmare in there. But anyway, so you can see just the way that it kind of goes in and almost turns this gel backwards, and just creating a ton of damage. But those splits are crazy in there. And same thing with that top, man. There's just like a huge crater. This kind of just fell out of it. This is pretty much just barely hanging on. Just the way that it kind of makes those craters. But that is one nasty track. And here's that little bit different angle for this one too. You can really tell what's going on, and just went in and destroyed everything. Huge cuts. Major splitting going on. And just one gnarly wound track going all the way through. So there we go. That one was at 357 SIG, 124 grain Nosler, loaded by Underwood. All right, real quick, I forgot to show that there was all those fragments that came off that 124 grain. That one was that 40 that we already showed, but pulled quite a few out of that gel. So we'll get our pictures and everything here at the end. There we go, guys.